Good morning, everyone. Let me first introduce myself to you. My name is Akriti Agrawal, and I have pursued BLLB from Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh, and thereafter I have pursued my LLM from the same university, AMU Aligarh, and I have also qualified UGC NET. So, this was my brief introduction, and this is my first video on my YouTube channel. And I have decided to start with the subject BNSS, that is Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita 2023. Okay, but before that, let me tell you one thing, that whenever we are going to study any subject of law, it is required for us to understand the connecting link, the connection between the Indian Constitution and that relevant subject of law. Okay, so I am talking about the constitutional essence of the subject, that is the constitutional essence of the subject. Okay, so for that we have to talk about our Indian Constitution. Our Indian Constitution is the supreme law. It is at the highest level. And nothing is above the Indian Constitution. Our whole Indian society is below the Indian Constitution. We bow down before our Indian Constitution. So we know that we have many subjects of law, right? We have many subjects of law which we used to study in our BLLB course. But the Indian Constitution, it is not a mere subject of law. It is a sacred document which our founding mothers and fathers, they have given their precious time in order to enact this precious document. So it is the sacred document. The Indian Constitution is not a passive document, it is a living document. It breathes, it has a life. Okay, so it is not a mere subject. So it is like this. So you might have known about the jurist Hans Kelsen. Okay, jurist Hans Kelsen. Okay, I hope is that clear to you? So you might have known about the jurist Hans Kelsen. So he gave the theory of Grundnorm. Theory of Grundnorm. Okay. So according to him, Grundnorm means that in every society there used to be a basic norm, a superior norm, which is at the highest level, and there are other norms which are subordinate to that basic norm, to that highest level of norm. And in order to exist in the society, all those norms require to be in consonance with that basic norm, with that supreme norm. So we can say that all the norms in the society, they derive their validity from the basic norm. Okay, so this is grand norm. This concept we can also apply in our Indian society with respect to our Indian constitution. Okay, so it means we can say that our Indian constitution, it is a supreme norm, it is the grand norm of our Indian society, and it is at the highest level of authority, it is highest, it is the supreme norm. And the other norms, that is the other laws which are being applicable in India, all the other laws, they are subordinate to Indian constitution. I hope you are getting it till now. Okay, so all the other laws, they are subordinate to Indian constitution, and in order to be validated, in order to be applicable in India, they are required to subscribe to the Indian Constitution, to be in line with the Indian Constitution. The all the laws and other things, the whole society, the whole Indian society, because in Indian society it includes many things that I will be telling you later on. So the laws, they derive their validity from the Indian Constitution. Okay, from the Indian Constitution. Now I'm saying that the laws, they derive their validity. Everything in the Indian society, they derive their validity from the Indian Constitution. What does that mean? For this, you have to understand one thing. Okay, this is our constitution, and our constitution is divided into two parts. It is divided into two parts. That is, firstly, the fundamental aspect, fundamental part. I should say fundamental part. Fundamental part, and second is governance part. I hope my handwriting is legible. So this is fundamental part, and second is the governance part. So fundamental part, it covers the first starting parts of the Indian Constitution. That is the citizenship, fundamental rights, fundamental duties, DPSP, directive principles of state policies, right? And the governance part, it covers the constitutional functionaries, right? Constitutional functionaries. So it includes fundamental rights, fundamental duties, DPSPs, and so on and so forth. Okay, and it includes constitutional constitutional functionaries. Constitutional functionaries like president, prime minister, vice president, attorney general of India, speakers, members of parliament, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, members of legislative assemblies, and so on and so forth. Okay, so they are the constitutional functionaries, they are the constitutional authorities, or we can say we have the democratic form of government, so they are the representatives of the people of India. Okay, so it is like this, and the governance part, it covers the functions, the powers, the duties, the qualifications, the form of elections, direct or indirect election, and so on and so forth of these constitutional functionaries. Okay, so now till now I was telling you that the whole Indian Constitution is the Grundnorm. In the language of Hans Kelsen, the Indian Constitution is the Grundnorm, is that superior norm. But now you have to understand that this governance part, it covers the, this is most important part of constitutional essence. Just mind it, this is most important. So this is, let me erase this first. This is, no, I am not talking about that, I am talking about this. Okay, so this is fund fundamental core principles of the Constitution. Is that clear to you? So, fundamental part. it covers the fundamental core principles of the Constitution, or we can say the essential principles of the Constitution, which also covers the basic structure doctrine, the basic principles of the Constitution. We know that basic structure doctrine, this doctrine is a landmark doctrine, watershed doctrine, which was evolved in the case, in the landmark judgment of case of Nanda Bharati versus State of Kerala. Okay, so in that case, in that judgment, this basic structure doctrine was evolved. So the fundamental core principles of the Constitution, they also include what is being included, what is being incorporated in the basic structure of the Constitution. That is also the part of the fundamental core principles. So I should write this. Okay, basic structure doctrine. Okay, basic structure doctrine. So this is it. So now this this is the Grundnorm, not this part. This is the Grundnorm. Fundamental core principles of the Constitution and the basic structure doctrine. This is the Grundnorm. Grundnorm of Indian society. I hope this is legible. All this is legible. Okay, so this is the Grand Norm. Now, when we are talking about our fundamental core principles of the Constitution, so there are some principles, some essential principles which are expressly mentioned in the Indian Constitution. Expressly mentioned means that when our founding mothers and fathers, they were discussing and enacting the Indian Constitution, then at that time they have expressly incorporated the some fundamental principles in this part, in this fundamental part, in the fundamental rights, fundamental duties, GPSPs, and most importantly, preamble of the Constitution. And so some are the now let's run this. Fundamental, some express principles. Okay, some express principles, which are there, which are explicitly incorporated in the Indian Constitution. That is the justice, equality, liberty, fraternity. Okay, justice, equality, liberty, fraternity, which we can find in our preamble, and fraternity means the unity and integrity of the nation and dignity of the individual. Correct? So these and some are like freedom, and freedom and others are there are many others which can be found expressly written in the Indian Constitution. So these are the express principles. But fundamental core principles are not only these principles. Fundamental core principles also include some implied principles, implied core essential principles, which are not expressly mentioned in the Indian Constitution, but they are there in the Indian Constitution. And when we read the provisions of fundamental rights, fundamental that is the fundamental part. When we read the fundamental part, we can infer the essence of those implied principles in the Indian Constitution. So, what are those implied principles? Um, so now I'm loving this. Implied principles. Express and implied principles. Implied fundamental core principles. Okay, so these are implied principles. These are principles of natural justice. We know that there are principles of natural justice. So in that, principles of natural justice, I think this is legible. I hope my writing is legible. So implied principles, principles of natural justice. So these are, justice is covered here, which is expressly there. Justice, equity, equity. This is equity and this is equality. Equity, good conscience, justice, equity, good conscience, fairness, reasonableness, non-arbitrariness, equity, good conscience, fairness, reasonableness, non-arbitrariness, right to privacy, see, and one more, individual autonomy. Okay, so see, some implied principles, they have been evolved by our honorable judges of the Supreme Court through their judgments, through their judicial pronouncements. That is right to privacy, individual autonomy. So right to privacy was evolved and was made fundamental right under Article 21 by our honorable judges in the case of retired Justice K.S. Puttaswamy versus Union of India. Okay, versus Union of India. 2017 Supreme Court. So in that, this right to privacy, this implied principle was evolved, and so as the individual autonomy. So some implied principles also used to be evolved through the judicial pronouncements. Okay, so these are the express principles, and these are the implied principles. And now from here we will be now I am winding up today. For today I am winding up, and now from here I will be resuming tomorrow. So till then, thank you, take care.